Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, this video is getting out a little later. For some reason, it didn't download to YouTube and just found out about it. But we have some big news. We had the government shut down today, so I'm going to tell you what that means for you going on any kind of cruise like I am this weekend. We also have Norwegian Cruise Line just did it again. They just canceled thousands upon thousands upon thousands of passengers cruise as they redeploy some of their fleet again next year and into 2027. And we have another cruise ship that was affected by the storm, and it's still being affected by the storm. So, unless you've been hiding under a rock, you have found out in the United States that the government's trying to pass this bill so they can continue working. I'm not sure how it works in the United States, but apparently they haven't voted on it, so they got no money to pay anybody in the budget. So they are furloughing thousands upon thousands of people in the government, except for essential workers, and one of those essential workers would be customs officers at the cruise port and at airports. So they'll still be there, you'll still be able to travel. The big thing is now there could be huge delays. There could be huge delays not only at the airport, but also at the cruise ports, both getting on the ship and getting off the ship. If this continues to run for a certain amount of time, you could start seeing ships have to be unloaded one at a time instead of 4 or 5 at a time. In some of the busy ports like Miami, you would be able to, instead of getting off at 7 a.m., 6:30 a.m., now some people might not get off till 10:30, 11, which means it would push back the embarkation of the other passengers. Plus, it would give you a lot less time to get to the airport to catch your flights. Also, you'll want to get to the airport early to go through customs. And if you have a connection where you have to go through customs between your flights, you want to get there as early as possible because it can be an absolute mess while this is going on. So yeah. Government, unfortunately, is kind of not on strike, but they're in a place right now where there could be a lot of delays for us traveling. So, as I said, get there early. Next, let's talk about Norwegian Cruise Line, as a bunch of passengers woke up this morning with emails saying that their cruise was canceled. And they're canceling them on 4 ships, kind of for different reasons. So they have the Gem and the Dawn, and they are switching home ports. They're going to switch from Tampa and Jacksonville, and now they're going to just switch the ships. But the ships are very similar in size. The entire capacity difference between the 2 ships is 54 passengers. So did they just cancel 54 passengers worth of cruises? No, they canceled everybody's cruise. They completely canceled every cruise. Everyone will get their original form of payment, deposit, etc. back on the card that they used. However, there's no price guarantee to swap and switch your cruise around or anything like that. And so if the price has gone up since you've booked it, you're now booking at a new higher rate. No explanation really of why they're swapping around the 2 ships. I mean, they're very similar in size. So it's not like, oh, well, we needed another 2,000 passengers, so we're moving this cruise ship over there. It's 54 passengers difference. It's not a whole lot. And then you have like the Getaway and the Breakaway, and they were scheduled to sail some shorter sailings. But it turns out there's not enough port room. So they cannot get the ships into the cruise port because there's just not enough of a space available. And that's some of the things we might start to see in the future as more and more cruise lines are going to these 3 and 4 day schedules. If you're now going instead of one 7-day cruise, you're now going 3 days, coming back, 4 days, coming back. Now you got 2 days you're in port. And if you do that for a lot of ships, they got to find room. They got to find where they can put these ships that can keep coming 2 times a week. It's going to be a lot. So there's a lot they have to divide up and figure out. But yeah, hundreds upon thousands of cruises were canceled. Literally 50 sailings were canceled. And if you figure there's only 2,000 people, well, that's 100,000 bookings right there that just got canceled. Interesting. And finally, we have another cruise. Now, I just mentioned the other day about an NCL ship that ended up having, instead of going up into the Caribbean, ended up having to head to Canada. Well, there's a few of them out there now. The Carnival has just said the Forenza might not be able to go up into Bermuda. It might have to go down into Canada as well. We have the Symphony of the Seas. Couldn't go up into the warm weather. It was supposed to go to Orlando, Nassau, and Perfect Day of Coco Cay. Instead, it ended up going towards St. John's, Nova Scotia, as well as Halifax, Nova Scotia. Not exactly the same itinerary. However, there's still rough seas and everything down there, so St. John ends up being canceled as well. So their entire cruise was a trip down to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and back in 7 days. That was their only port of call, it turns out. Yeah, not a fun day for folks on the cruise. It just turned into a little bit of a mess. Now, they were given some future cruise credits when they originally changed the itinerary, plus some onboard credits as well. Well, now they're getting some extra onboard credits, another $25 credit per person. These are all non-refundable credits, which means you have to use them while you're on the ship. If you don't, you lose them. You don't get to cash in and take them home with you at the end, or use them to buy another cruise or anything like that. It just disappears. So people are going to have to find a way to spend more money on the ship. Usually not a problem. Usually not a problem on a cruise ship. There's always something you can find out there to buy. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Like thousands upon thousands of cruises canceled from MCL. 2 ships, very, very similar in size. Both in Florida now. One's going to Jacksonville, one's going to Tampa. They're just going to the other side, each going to the other side of Florida. And they ended up canceling like 50 cruises in this situation. Kind of seems a little bit insane to me, but they must have their reason. They must know what they're doing. There must be a reason behind it. The skeptic in me or the conspiracy theory in me would say, well, you know what? Prices have gone up so much in cruising that if they cancel these cruises and resell them, they might make even more money. That's a high possibility, right? That is a possibility of things that they're doing. I know people have brought it up to me when other cruise lines, the cruise lines canceled other sailings. Well, so they can sell it at a higher price. And I said, well, come on, they're not going to cancel all these ships just for that. But this one really seems a little bit odd. Similar size ships swapping sides of Florida, and that's the only changes. Pretty strange. Let me know in the comments down below. Until next time, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. We'll see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world. Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.